I have given you so far. You may sit down. Any questions? All right, so, Richard. No, not yet. Before you come up, though, I want us to do an exercise that's a little, it will reveal to you about your sound something that might be weird for you, but have any of you heard a recording of your voice?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
You have?
Yes.
How did you hear one?
Terrible.
No, I didn't say what was it like.
Okay.
Well, and what's terrible? Terrible.
Terrible.
What? Go.
Terrible.
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 Very good. Okay, I didn't ask what the quality was. I asked, where have you heard it? How?
What I heard is different from the sound I heard.
No, but why did you? What was the? How did it happen?
I recorded my own speech
Okay.
and listened to it.
Good. And how did you hear yours?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same
Okay.
thing.
All right. Good. So we really don't understand what our voices sound like. So there's a really good way that you can experience what they sound like. I know it's gonna seem stupid, but it really does work. So I will tell you, as a professional singer, I have several CDs that I have recorded, and the first time I sang for a professional CD, and I was in the recording studio, and I thought, sure, I knew how my voice sounded. I mean, I guess it wasn't that. It was when I heard my voice after it was recorded after I gave a voice recital. And I was listening to it and I go, oh, that sounds awful. It sounds like not anything like what I thought my voice sounded. It was a theater production, that's right. It was a musical. And my friends were like, Ron, what's the matter with you? You sound great. I go, that is not my voice. That must be somebody else singing. That is not me. And they said, it's you from tonight's performance. We were at a cat's party. We were drinking wine and stuff and having some fun. And I was really disappointed. And my wife said, you know, honey, you need to get over this because this could really hurt you. It could damage your career if you're not willing to accept that that's how you sound. So it was the beginning of a journey of understanding that we hear our voice inside our head for a split second before everybody else hears it. We hear our voice inside our heads for a split second before anyone else does. But what they hear is our real voice. Because what we hear in our heads can't possibly be real, right? Because I told you that the voice vibrates and then it travels in the air. So it becomes real when it leaves us. And that's where speech giving really gets people, because they're shaky about how they sound and what they, you know, and they're nervous about their voice and how loud or soft it is and the tone of it and all that. So I really want one of the things that you take from these 4 weeks to be feeling more secure. That's my voice, and I like my voice, and my voice is okay. So put your hands, just very gently, make like elephant ears behind your ears, okay? And don't press your ears closed. Keep your ears totally open. See how mine are? My ears are totally open. So now just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Take them away and do the same thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very different. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What this does is it makes a small room right around your head for you to hear your voice the way I hear it. So what you hear here is your real voice. Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay. Are you thinking, Richard? What are you thinking? That's interesting. You never realized this?
I never realized this.
You never realized this?
I never realized it.
I never realized this. I never realized this. What am I doing with my D? I'm stopping it, right? So this particular word against the TH would be stopped. You wouldn't say, I never realized this. Excuse me, you wouldn't say, I never realized this. You'd say, I never realized this. So I'm stopping my D. See if you can do that.
I never realized this.
Perfect, okay? So it's a funky thing about the language. Sometimes the D or the T or the P will be stopped because of what happens after it. When I stop and give an example like that, that's really important for you as Asians to know how many changes there are based on combinations of beginnings and endings of words and based on combinations of consonants. That's the really long-term stuff that's difficult to get, right? Because we're probably not going to cover all of them. That's why I am possessed in class with pointing those things out. Okay, so that's how I taught Suzanne about how to hear her best sound. Now, range. We're going to do a little range study, and then we'll take a break, and then we're going to have at least 4 people come up. In the 4 classes, you should be up here twice, okay? You need to make sure that you say, Ron, it's my turn. You know, I need to be up here. And if you don't ever want to come up and be in front of the class because you're too afraid, I will hold your hand. The whole purpose, right, is Toastmaster. So, and or maybe it's at your work, maybe it's at your job, or wherever it might be. It's important that you take advantage of this because this is a safe place. You're loved here and you're cared for, and this is like being in the doctor's office, and you trust the doctor. Okay. All right. So range is where is my vocal where is my vocal range? Mine is what they call in the singing world a baritone. It's in between tenor and bass. And sometimes I go above that, and sometimes, like I do, I go like that, okay? And sometimes I go below that. It depends on what I'm saying or what mood I'm in. On Friday morning, when I was had my cold was really bad, I could sing down here. Yeah, I mean, I can't now because that's not my range, but I had to cancel a singing gig this morning because I knew I wasn't going to be ready to sing. And it's different for men and different for women. So Suzanne and then her friend Roger, both, the biggest thing that I was able to help them with Toastmasters was finding their perfect range. They were not speaking in their God-given range. They were speaking somewhere else. Suzanne was practically whispering. She grew up in a house where the dad was really soft-spoken and the mom was really loud. And she really got along with them and she felt loved, but she made a decision to be like her dad for unconscious reasons, right? It just happened that way. My wife's, she wouldn't mind me sharing this. My wife came from a very dysfunctional family. Her dad was a rageaholic, and he yelled a lot. I mean, a lot. So he was always angry about stuff. And the way the family reacted, his wife and my wife and her brother, but especially her brother and her mother, was to be very soft-spoken like this because they were so offended by his rage. And Fred, my brother-in-law, and I had talked. I said, well, Fred, I can barely hear you sometimes. So, you know, you kind of went in the opposite direction. But there was a reason why. Because, you know, and so he became this very... Now, that's not the case for everybody, but there are all these reasons why we end up having the voice that we do as adults. The quest here is, for Toastmasters, is to find your best range. All right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to ask before you, do you have some speech that you're going to do? Is that what you're going to give part of a speech?
Me?
I'm looking right at you. You're the only man in the room besides me.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. So, when you come up, why don't you come up now and have it memorized? Okay, good. So, take it away.
My grandma was illiterate. She could not even tell the value of the currency, but she was She was good at storytelling. My grandma was very poor, but she always saved the best for the family. My grandma had a very hard life, but she always had a hope she could live better in the next life. My grandma's home was the paradise in my childhood.
That's one paragraph?
Yeah.
Give me another one. Do you have another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in a small village. I was born in a small village. At that time, I always felt hungry because there was not enough food to eat. I was always looking forward to a holiday, especially Chinese Spring Festival, because at those times we had enough food to eat, and also we had the luxury to have meat every day.
Great, that's good. So, just give me the first sentence of your first paragraph.
My grandma was illiterate.
What is this word that you're saying at the end of the sentence? Can you spell it for me? Take your time.
T-E-R-A-T-E.
Oh, illiterate.
Illiterate.
Ah, so there's a bunch of hard ones in there, right?
Yeah.
So, illiterate.
Illiterate.
Very good.
Illiterate.
Don't try to say it fast. Oh my gosh. That's what Min does. She goes, illiterate. I go, no, Min, you don't get to say it fast until you can say it slow a lot. And it's okay to be slow. It really is. So it's okay to say, my grandma was illiterate.
My grandma was illiterate.
Okay, and she was a?
She even could not tell.
No. I'm asking you a question by being a little bit sarcastic. You're saying she was a illiterate. What's a was a?
She was illiterate.
What's the for?
Oh no, she was illiterate.
She was a? Don't resist, and you especially. You might have to leave the room.
I don't see anything.
She was.
Yes. No after a was. Yeah. Like our friend here. Yes?
She was.
No?
She was illiterate.
Yes. If you take that extra syllable out of your speaking, it will morph you as an English-speaking person. Do you know what the word morph means? It's like light speed or in Star Trek, right? Okay? Boom! It's going to be amazing when you take that out of your speech. Yes. Okay. So, illiterate.
Illiterate.
Much better. Illiterate.
Illiterate.
Okay, great. And so, go back and say the sentence. What I was going to say was, let's try something fun. Just talking about range. Try to say, my grandma was illiterate.
My grandma was illiterate.
Was a?
Was illiterate.
Okay. My grandma was illiterate.
My grandma was illiterate.
Definitely not that one, right? But closer to the top one. So he's kind of, by being in the middle of his range, he's softer. My grandma, so for speech giving, my grandma was illiterate.